Hello, everyone, to another edition of Dissolving the Divide. I'm Leslie Powers. Here we have our beloved founder of Dissolving the Divide, Derek Bartoluccelli. Hey. And a
What a time to
special
be
guest,
alive. And yeah, I've been
right?
in a quite a wonderful space of gratitude, reflecting on, the progress we've made and just like the wonderful, wonderful guests that we've had. It's really just touched my soul. And back once again, my friend is the rock and roll Rodney Goodwin,
Hey,
who is quite the mage, musician, and someone who y'all really need to listen to. So yeah, how is it going and what it do?
good. Yeah, doing good, man. I've just been pulled back a lot with content the last few months because I'm going through a lot of restructuring mentally, emotionally, all the way down the line. But one thing this morning when I was driving that hit me really hard in this whole universe of matrix structure, cosmos, the most valued thing is the human consciousness. Our DNA, our etheric DNA, our physical DNA, our physical bodies. This is the most highest valued thing in the whole universe. And when people can get a hold of that in their mindset, that how valuable you are as a human being, and how valuable it is to align yourself correctly so that your consciousness can navigate correctly in context to leveling up, and climbing the I call it the mountain of Capricorn, and that's, really unweaving the karmic structures of ignorance. And so, it really hit me hard today because it's like I am highly valued in this universal structure, you know and so, that taps into going into 2024. The question I'm going to propose to everyone is, what is your mindset going into 2024? Are you allowing the outside aspects and the outside circus to dictate what your mindset is going to be going into this next year? And everything that's rumbling out there and trying to raise its ugly head, in context to, everything from, beating the war drums all the way down to, what are we going to do politically, all the political bullshit that's going on. So you've got all these, the veils that are trying to strengthen themselves, because
Mm,
guess what? We're having major penetrations into that first veil where humanity's locked down into. And
right.
oh, just a quick shout out. If you've not heard Sethicus Boza's Veil, it's called the
Labyrinth of the Nine Veils, right?
yeah, Labyrinth of the Nine Veils. You need to
Yeah.
go listen to that because
Yeah.
that really does give you an absolute foundation and structure in context to actually what's the veils of limitations are that we're under,
Yeah,
kind of what we
totally.
cll the enclosure. So
Yeah.
it's really
Real
good.
quick, just because I just want to say that yeah, if people really delve into and piercing beyond the first veil, because a lot of people are still stuck up on that, even in the conspiratorial realm, truth seeking, speaking realm.
Right.
So many people are still stuck into that first veil, geopolitical minutia. And, that's why I feel like, since they haven't gone further and progressed, they're stuck in a doom and gloom negative
Right.
feedback loop. So anything
Right.
about that? Because we're trying to flip the script. That's why we wanted to have you on. We're pretty optimistic about our own inner workings and pathworks for the next year. And despite all the crap that's going on outside and divisions and all that stuff, yeah, man, like we're here and active and trying to do the right thing always
Yeah.
and forever.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about your suggestions for the most optimal mindset,
Yeah.
in the factors coming into this new year. Yeah, what do you anticipate?
Well, okay, so starting off, the overall theme of the next year is going to be Jupiter. So, and that ties into the Sagittarian energy and to the galactic center, where Neptune is holding a square, or will be holding a square at 25 to 27 degrees next year. So we're going to really have this opportunity with this square. What is a square? That's tension. So you don't grow without tension. You don't grow without obstacles. Obstacles are there for you to overcome. And so with this tension, with Neptune being in Pisces, squaring off at 27 degrees Sag, which is the galactic center in context, we have a real opportunity to step into quantum leaping, literally quantum aspects on the timeline that we are currently on, to expand that consciousness and then have a greater effect input on the ethers and the collective aspect. And so this is a huge theme next year. Sagittarius is the theme next year. And even in the retrogrades in context of Mercury, it's all running fire elements. And I'm going to get into that, on the retrogrades. So everything is going to be running to the Jupiter aspect, because Jupiter it has the most aspects running next year, in context of trines, sextiles, oppositions, all the way down the line. Jupiter is the kingpin next year. So I just wanted to, give you an overview of that. So let's just get into the beginning right now, what's happening. So right now we're coming out of retrograde. So, we're, Neptune's out, Saturn is out. We've got Mars and Venus are direct. Chiron just came out yesterday. So we're out of the Chiron retrograde in Aries. And now what we have left is Jupiter, which it comes out December 31st, New Year's Eve. And then Mercury comes out the next day, January 1st. And then Uranus then is the last one to come out of retrograde, and that'll be on the 27th of January. So our retrograde season is wrapping up in context, and we are entering a place of catapult. So going into 2024, especially with Jupiter going direct in Taurus. So this is going to have a big time effect on all the internal work that we've done with the retrogrades in context to the outer planets, our unconscious, subconscious mind field, and then also, dealing with the Jupiter aspect, which is like an arrow of Sagittarius being pulled back, ready to launch. And so what we're dealing with here is all the plans, all of the things that you have had on the back burner, that you have had ready to launch, that you've been fine-tuning, working on, things that you've been wanting to launch next year. Taking it, probably the first 3 weeks, I would maybe hold off a little bit, because Mercury will still be in its shadow period, as it retraces back into Capricorn. But what are we dealing with here? We're dealing with what? A huge launch that's getting ready to take place. What do you guys think about that? I mean, have you been feeling this like horse at the gate kind of thing, where you're like, oh man, things are ready to rumble,
I would say for me, like, I have a lot of ideas that have been sitting and percolating and getting ready to be created. But this 2023, I was just so slammed with like heavy weight.
Oh,
It felt like
huge.
all year long. And I felt like a completion of a lot of things and of freeing. And so now I'm very much in this like season of darkness, in this I feel like I've just like dug deep, and I'm resting and kind of recalibrating a bit and getting ready, to like launch things. So it really fits with my world.
Yeah. How about you, Derek?
Yeah, I feel kind of similar with Leslie. I've kind of persevered and had to stick to certain schedules and keep making videos, and I've done a shitload of live streams this year, actually, and even caught you on Logan's Wizard Factory a couple times. I was tight, man.
Oh yeah, I know. We're getting ready to do another segment here soon. So
Yeah, I was hoping, and like, yeah, I've definitely felt this like this energy brewing, and like a lot of ideas coagulating more and more,
yeah,
as far as what I'm trying to push forward into the next year, and just like having like a real good cultivated energy of optimism, if you will, and just trying to keep that going, not let that exterior bullshit affect us. And like, yeah, there's movies coming out by the fucking Obamas or some shit talking about civil war when there's other wars overseas and all this stuff, and like all the polarities are getting more stretched out and like thinned out a little bit as far as just, yeah, I don't know, like people's indifferences between things, and just looking over here at things at a bird's eye view. Things are not polarized like that in France, but I'm just wondering why people, yeah, it's just too much propaganda and a lot of
Yeah,
heartstrings
well,
being pulled, right? Like,
next
yeah.
next year is going to be a challenge on the mental plane for people to stay in alignment because of how
Mm,
fast the year is going to go. It's going to
yeah.
be a very, very fast year, especially when we get to May. Things are going to really hit.
You
And
think
so,
things are quickening because of the AI augmentation as well, and like things are just rolling out
well,
hardcore now,
and that's the other
or
thing.
what?
What do we have? We have Neptune sitting in Pisces. We've got
Yeah, I
Saturn
wanted to
sitting
forget
in
about that.
Pisces, right?
Mm,
So it's like you see things that are going on, and you say, is that real or not? You
Mhm.
don't even know what's real or not anymore because of AI, and because of what's been rolled out. So what it's done is it's blurred the lines, the boundaries. And what does Saturn want to do? It wants to what? Set boundaries. What does Neptune want to do? It wants to dissolve boundaries. So we've got this oxymoron, this conundrum going on in the Piscean gate, which is the gate of the big picture. It's the gate of seeing from above and being able to see what's going on, right? And so if you can't determine or decipher on the outside what's real and what's not real, right? What is it telling you to do? It's telling you to go inside. See? You've got to go more and deeper on the internal aspect of your 12th house, of your Piscean energy, or whatever your Piscean energy is aspecting in context. And then that's what you start to work with in context to drawing the correct boundaries in your life, all the way down from relationships to your own personal internal dialogue, and then running things in accordance or in alignment to cosmic principle and the alchemical principles in your life, and then bringing that all full circle in context to what you're actually putting out into action, and that's your Mars energy. So, what you're actually putting into the reality field, what actions, what are you actually doing with your hands and your feet? The feet represent Pisces. So, this is our challenge next year because things are really going to get fast. Things are going to come at us faster. Information is going to come faster. Everything's going to get ramped up. So there's going to be a lot of having to level up our practices, our spiritual practices in our lives. And this is Jupiter in context to what? To the fire magic that we have to develop next year.
Can you share more about what is fire magic?
So fire magic would be your Jupiter energy. Okay. So think about what fire represents, or the fire element represents. It's the ultimate transformer. Fire is something that it burns the earth element, because we are coming into the year of the wood dragon next year.
Mhm.
And wood is something that's burnt with fire. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you've got the earth and the fire element working together in context to what? Bringing transformation. And the wood element in context to Chinese astrology represents your tree, your nervous system.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's bringing the fire element into your nervous system and up and leveling up how things are actually firing on your nervous system in context of bringing things into alignment to the galactic center, which is 27 degrees. And that's transforming your psychic abilities, all your gifts, honing things in the aspects of what your Chiron would be with your giftings, and healing the wounds. See, we've just come direct with Chiron. Chiron has just come direct. So, and it's in Aries which is the self. So you have a self, not only evaluation, but responsibility to make a better version of who you are by healing those wounds and then elevating your gifts. So this is the Chiron aspect and context.
Mhm.
I love
So
that.
so fire magic then becomes how you affect the reality field in context to you're tapping into your galactic center or your Jupiter energy running the Sagittarian gate.
Yeah.
Okay? Which is the highest aspect of the fire. You start with Aries, you go to Leo, then you go to Sagittarius. It just stacks. Like, so you go Aries is the initiatory fire, or what we call cardinal fire, and then you got the fixed element of Leo, which is correspondence to the sun, and that's opening up your heart. And then you've got the Sagittarian aspect running the higher self, the higher magic, the higher fire element in context to what you're actually putting into action. See?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's in alignment with the galactic center, and that's all the quantum aspect, and that's your giftings, your psychic abilities, the gifts that you haven't tapped into yet, or what you need to hone. And then you got to be careful of what you speak, because then the galder, then in context to what seething inside, becomes very powerful. Then once you attain a level of consciousness to that ninth gate, or that Jupiter energy. So really, for us sages, this is going to be a year of powerful year for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sagittarius, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We shall not sleep through this.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like we have a big year.
Well, that's just the retrogrades,
Yeah,
that
to
we
get
just
the
come
Western,
out
it
of.
sounded like you had
Yeah, there's so much going on next year. It's unbelievable. But let's get into the first, major thing that's going to be happening
Yeah.
next year. Okay. So the first thing that's going to be happening next year is we are literally going to have a Plutonian gate change. Now, we all know, we've all heard this, right? Pluto's going to be moving into what? Aquarius, right? Out of Capricorn. And I call this a farewell to kings,
Interesting.
a farewell to hierarchical order in context. And that is on an internal level for all of us. The remnants of the hierarchical order that we've got, see what we're going to have Sun and Pluto in a conjunction on January 20th at 29.53 degrees Capricorn. So what is this signaling? 29 degrees is an anaretic aspect, and it has to do with the greatest challenge of the gate. That greatest challenge that you have in that gate is what? Is breaking the hierarchical order of your mindset, which we've all been programmed all of our lives to obey.
Yeah.
Right? We've got to obey the magistrates, and we've got to obey the man-made laws of the land, even if they're detrimental to us or our family or our friends or relationships. Well, that's the man-made law. We got to obey it, but not understanding that within ourselves, we are the Aquarian, we are the maverick, we are the rebel, you know. And so what's happening here, it's a farewell to kings. Rush has a song called A Farewell to Kings. Have you ever heard that song?
Quite sure. Yeah.
So it goes, when you turn the pages of history, when these days have passed long ago, will they read of us with sadness for the seeds that we let grow? We've turned our gaze from the castles in the distance. Eyes have cast down on the path of least resistance. And then the song goes on, it says, there have been scheming demons dressed in kingly guise. And I look at that line and I said, that's exactly what's happened. We have had, this demonized aspect to the king.
Yeah.
This tyrannical aspect that has happened, and Capricorn, with Pluto and Capricorn, it's been pounding on that now since 2008. See? So, so scheming demons dressed in kingly guise, withered hearts and cruel, tormented eyes. You start to see, when will we return back to the heart is basically what the song is talking about. When will the heart be the forefront of our existence and our consciousness as humanity again? It's a great song, man. So you guys should probably, if anybody listening, go listen to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic song. 1977, A Farewell to Kings.
Mm.
That whole album has Xanadu on it. That whole album is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I lived with a lover of Rush, so I heard.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so getting into this 29-degree aspect, right? So that's what's happening there. It's signaling the sun or the soul, the kingdom, right? That we are transforming within ourselves to the Capricorn gate. All those hierarchical structures now are signaling, this is the final time that we are dealing with this. And you're going to see it all over on the outside. You're going to see stuff come down. You're going to see stuff shift. The baggage, is going to shift on the
The
airplane.
death throes, right?
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of governmental aspects coming down or being shaken up. That's what's happening. I mean, hell, America's in its Pluto return. I mean, come on. We are seeing it here in America like you've never seen before. So then what happens is Sun and Pluto move together into the Aquarian gate at 0 degrees. I mean, it's mind-blowing to see the announcement of the return of the Sun King, right? In context to how it's supposed to actually be, right? Within our being the king of your own life, being the representative or the totality of your own life. See? And then wielding that kingship to your internal dialogue and allowing that transformation to take place, because what's happening there, right? The king is
Is there
dead.
a tarot card that corresponds to that real quick?
The king is dead, and the king, long live the king. See? So the king of your own life now, in context to your own sovereignty, which is what Uranus or Aquarius represents, is now in transformative process.
Like Lex Rex, real natural law within.
Absolutely. This is announcing it from the heavens.
Wow.
You're actually getting an announcement from the heavens.
Yeah, so we better heed that warning, right? Heed that.
Absolutely, because this is signaling to us that, how can we collaborate, which is what the Aquarian energy is. How can we collaborate if we haven't come into a level of mastery of our own sovereignty?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. So hopefully we've all been listening to you, Rodney, over this past year or two. Then we're ready.
What's that?
Hopefully we've been listening to you and heeding your words, to prepare for this time. I think if we've done
right, yeah. Right, because you asked about a rune, not a rune card, tarot card. Derek. That would
right, just that was corresponding to what you were talking about, how there's the false king, and that has to be renewed and regenerated into.
Well, I think
kind of got crossfired in a lot of what you were saying. So yeah,
I think the Six of Wands represents the return of the Sun King. Let me pull it up. Let's look at it.
Please,
yeah. I'll find it. I know,
the minor arcana is so underestimated or underspoken about.
It is. Yeah, it totally is.
So this is great. I love this shit.
Let's see here. May take me a second to find this.
Yeah, wand representing that fire magic.
The fire element, right? Exactly.
Sagittarius, right? The sage,
right?
The mage.
New direction found, vitality, abundant energy, clear goals, strong.
Yes. Okay. You're good. You're pulling it up. Good.
That's from Tessarian's catalog, basically.
Yeah. So read that again. Read that again.
New direction found, vitality, abundant energy, clear goals, strong focus, sense of purpose, strong identity.
Yes.
Taking the lead, right? Accepting the odds. There's a decisiveness, assuming the lead, dynamic leadership. Yeah, it is like the king taking back the leadership. Self-esteem, good health. Yeah. There's certain power there.
What's that?
There's a certain power,
Oh yeah, that's it. Yep, Return of the Sun King. Yep, Six of Wands. Yep. Yeah, man, I love that card.
Cool. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So when you were talking, I could feel that energy running up and down my spine. It's like,
Mhm.
woo, that's
Yeah.
good stuff. Yeah. So see, it's all corresponding in context. Even when you look at the year of the dragon, that's leadership, man. You know, that's stepping into your leadership and your sovereignty, you know. And when it's the wood dragon, it's also stepping into what? The mental aspect in context to the intelligence. That's what that wood dragon represents. It's high intelligence, and so everything is kind of corresponding to this shift that's taking place with Pluto, moving into Aquarius. Now, if you want to look back, when Pluto moved into Capricorn, 2008, what happened? Capricorn represents foundations and structures. What happened in
Well,
2008?
didn't Facebook come out like
A few
wildfire
a, a
around
few months a few
2008,
months
2009?
and we had the housing
Oh,
crisis,
that's right. Yeah.
and all of a sudden
I
everything,
was
the
gonna mention
bottom
that. Yeah.
dropped out of everything. It was like, holy shit, what just happened, right? Because Pluto, what did it do?
Had to
it
bail out the
came
banks
in
and all that shit. Yeah,
it came
thanks.
in and revealed what was going on under the surface, brought it to the light, and then that's where the transformation had to take place, and everybody had to pay the price for the bullshit that they were running. Well, not everybody, because a lot of people just skated out of that. A lot of the big
Like
app.
Bernie made off with millions, right?
Yeah, yeah, all the bullshit there, because it got you what, they're covered by, the hierarchical order, so to speak, right? But this is what I'm talking about now with Pluto moving you know, into Aquarius. We could see something, and it's interesting, Derek. You were talking about, the movie that was made on Netflix, the Left Behind or Left World Left Behind or whatever it's called. They're signaling this in context. So they're trying to input this into the collective consciousness in context to, taking a psychological operation like a movie and occulting it, and then bringing it into a space where you know it people start talking about it, and they get caught up in all the occult symbolism, but it's a rabbit trail. It's putting your consciousness on something that they want you to put your consciousness on. you know does that make sense?
A
It
Totally.
little bit
happens
of
all
a
Yeah.
the
rabbit
time.
Use the
trail
consciousness
of
to just
diversion,
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
foreshadowing.
Yeah. you know the Simpsons predictable bullshit, that they put out there, all that,
Yeah.
everybody's, always talk,
Yeah.
put in their consciousness on this stuff. And when you realize that it's all mind, right? And what they input into the collective mind, and people then start talking about it on social media, which is kind of like a hive mind, I mean, really, it's like, you start to see, all these, shorts and reels and all this stuff, TikToks and stuff, because people can't put their consciousness on, listening to anything for an hour or two. They got to do the 30-second snippets, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, because we can use that as well. But I'm just saying, in
Yeah.
context
You've been
to
doing your
what,
thing, man.
yeah, in context to what, into what they're trying to input into the collective mind. I mean, I did see the
Yeah.
movie, and one of the things that I did notice is
I
that,
haven't yet.
they had the oil tanker come up on the front, and like it was shipwrecked. You know what it said on the side of it? White lion.
Really?
Now, if you understand a little bit about what the white lion is, in context to uh the what are the helontic science, you realize that, that is kind of the aspect of our higher, universal matrix aspect, or the highest, so to speak, is the white lion, the winged lion.
Mm.
And it's interesting because they're saying it's shipwrecked. See, they're trying to send a message on a subconscious level. When I saw that, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe they're putting that out there. See, they know what's going on an esoteric level, so they're way ahead of most people. See, and that's why they throw these things out for those people who maybe are studying the occult, because it gets them on the rabbit trails. I mean, it's just something that I saw. I saw the movie. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. The movie was ridiculous
Mm.
as far as I'm concerned. You know, it just all it did was propagate suspicion and fear. the
Right.
whole time, you know?
Yeah.
And so,
With
you know,
some occult
getting,
mockery or whatever mixed in.
yeah, totally. Totally. And so, for people to continue to put out memes and talk about it, they're just being psyop. They don't even know it.
So this year coming up, when you're saying the importance of mindset, it sounds like you're saying watch out for like the diversions and the distractions, but to really come to the heart of the matter.
Look, what you put in your eye gate and your ear gate matters.
Mm-hmm.
What you put because where your consciousness goes, your energy flows.
Yeah.
So what are you attaching your energy to in context to your eye gate and your ear gate? See, that is
Mm-hmm.
basic esoteric knowledge that we all have to practice.
Yeah.
you know and I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I have leveled myself up in context to that by putting myself in a position where I don't gaze my eyes on things that are going to be attached to matrix systems.
Yeah.
you know and if you do, like, you watch a movie like that, you can discern it. And I wanted to watch it because I was like, what the hell's all the hype for? So I watched it, but it don't pull me in. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to put out memes about it. I'm just looking at it in context to what is actually the enemy doing, you
Yes.
know, in
Yeah,
context
being
to
the
that.
observer, right?
Yeah, observing it. Right, exactly. Good point, Derek. Observing it. It's a good word.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I'm just talking about getting pulled into it.
Yes.
That there's a difference.
Totally, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Rodney, real quick, because can I ask you a question or
yeah,
maybe a
sure.
quick answer? Because you had a really great uh chat with Tala Linden. Respects to her and everything. But you spoke about the fragility of things right now, and yeah, there's this psyoptic onslaught of divide and conquer tactics, controlled opposition, what I like to call projective programming, not just predictive, because they're not predicting if they're in the know, right?
Right.
Prediction is kind of like a guess in a sense, but
Right.
yeah, this controlled opposition in the conspiracy porn realm, as I like to call it, because people are watching conspiracy stuff like porn in a sense, unfortunately,
Exactly what's
and
going
in the
on.
midst of the rise of AI. So things like you mentioned, they're, who knows if this image is real or generated or whatever the hell, or even like,
Right.
voices and stuff and videos now, like, wow, man. So yeah,
Yeah,
those
and
things
that's
kind of
a
tie
that's a
into it.
really good word for it, projective programming, because to try to predict something, there's too many variables that could take place, right? So, I think that we have come to a point on the timeline here where we're really starting to see a separation. I can feel that. Do you guys feel that? Do you guys feel like there's this, like, you walk out into the Matrix, like when Neo was, going down the road, and he was driving in the car and he looked over at the Chinese restaurant because I used to eat there. I mean, it's like he realized that that wasn't even real, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you feel this separation take place. It's like when you go out of your house, it's like, oh shit, I'm going right into the Matrix system, right into AI. It's what it feels like almost now. Do
Yeah.
you guys feel that? I mean, I feel that every time I go out the door. It's like, holy
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
It's been building for a while for me, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's this real, separation taking place, that I feel. And so this transit with Pluto moving into the Aquarius with the sun is signaling to us as, as mages and sages and, esoteric workers and, those who are holding, higher frequency, for us to what? We are going to level up. That we're taking the next step of evolution in our consciousness. This is it. This is happening next year.
Mm-hmm.
We are not going to be left behind. We're not going to be able to stay where we're at. If we don't, we're going to be fucking miserable if
Mm-hmm.
we try to stay where we're at.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, that's what's going to happen. And if you've made a choice to forge on, to continue to climb the mountain, if you've made that choice within your mind and your heart, then let me tell you, this next year is going to be filled with absolute magical abilities, luck, giftings, power manifestations, being able to tap into high levels of luck, in context with Jupiter, running the game next year, astrologically. Man, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we've done in context to all of this work that we've done. Because what we have coming in April 8th is a total eclipse for the United States.
Oh, wow.
Solar eclipse, and it's in Aries.
Huh. Tell us more about that.
Is that the
So
one happening right above Texas, by the way?
I was going to get into that. So check it
Okay,
out.
yeah, we talked to Bootsy. He's going there.
Yeah. So check it
Bootsy
out.
Bootsy.
So check it out, right? This is
Yeah.
culminating with the 2017 eclipse, August 21st, 2017 eclipse, right? Which started in the northwest
That's my
and
birthday,
moved
yo.
through Texas, right? Okay. So it culminated. So we had that path, right? So we're looking at something and we're going, wow, I felt like that eclipse really launched me into my path work. And then not long after that, I initiated with Black Earth Productions and Blue Flame Healing Arts right after that in October. And that's when it was on for me. It really I just like catapulted. All right. So this eclipse is as far as I'm concerned, is showing us how far we have come from the 2017 eclipse to now running this energy that on April 8th, that's going to be running from the what? It's going to be running from the northeast to the southwest. And it's going to form an X over Texas, in the middle of Texas, in the heart of Texas.
Huh. X
Which
marks
is
the spot.
which is right around Austin, the capital of Texas. See? So we could literally see some major events take place, coming up, not on the eclipse, but coming up after that with Texas. I mean, who knows? Who knows what we could see there in context, but there could be some major events taking place there. I don't know exactly what they would be. I can't tell you that. But it could be a plethora of things. But this eclipse is on an esoteric level is giving us a glimpse into our path work and where like showing us this framework or these boundaries or framework of all of the shadow work and transmutation and transformation that we have made since that August 2017 eclipse, where we got our actual timeline in context to bringing things back into alignment.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty amazing when I think back of how much has changed in my life since that time, and a tremendous amount of growth. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Think about where you were with your consciousness in 2017. How many different versions of yourself have you ran through?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was a major platform of leaping forward in my time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And see, what the thing about it is that you don't actually, because you are the player on the field, you don't actually see the impact that you're having not only on your own self but on the outside world. And so as within as without to vibrational correspondence. So you don't always see the impact. This eclipse is going to give us some insight into that. We are going to get some major reviews over this 6.5 year, 7 year period now that we've been in here to doing this path work and really leveling things up. So, I just look at it in context to, man, the heavens are really working with us. I mean, they are really working with us, even though, the solar spiral isn't totally intact. It's still so vital and important and pertinent to our internal alchemical process, what we call high planetary magic, or high planetary alchemy, and this is something that everybody needs to at least on some level be working with.
Yeah, yeah. So we have the retrogrades that we're coming out of retrogrades. That's a really big thing that's affecting us. And
Yeah,
then
there's a catapult, right?
catapult, and then this date in well, we have the eclipses, but which is April 8th, the solar eclipse.
Yeah, right. Mhm.
And there was
20.
another thing you mentioned that's pretty significant too, the Pluto.
Okay, so yeah, so Pluto was going to be moving into Aquarius conjunct with Sun at 0 degrees, right? They're going to be moving into the gate together. And then that 29-degree structure is going to give us a glimpse into, because 29 degrees is also can be a shadow aspect. Because what it's really doing, it's revealing the deepest shadow part of that gate, 29 degrees. So it's going to show us deep down, Pluto is going to give us a glimpse deep down inside of us of what we still have work to do with in context to regaining our sovereignty, which is Aquarius.
Right.
See?
Yes.
And it's going to do that. It's going to retrograde in September of 2024. It's going to pull back one more time into Capricorn at 29 degrees and give us one more look at the at the end of the year. And then on November 19th, 2024, it moves back into the Aquarian gate, and then we're on for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's going to be a 20-year transit into the Aquarian gate for Pluto. So we're going to get one more shot at the 29 degrees. But this is a big one because it's going to really, the sun is going to shine into the Plutonian energy in your life, the underworld, and it's going to show you what you're still linked up with in context to your foundations and structures and your consciousness, and what's still there in context to hierarchical order, king, tyrannical, narcissistic aspects that you're still dealing with. And we all have them, and we all are still dealing with them. No one has arrived here, and so, we have to put ourselves on the hot seat in context.
Yeah. And faced with our struggles around how much we still are connected, I guess, right? With the power.
Right, because you can't not look at it now.
Yeah.
You can't be in denial anymore if you're going to be doing this path work.
Yeah.
You can't be willful ignorance either.
Yeah.
Because
well, technically you can, but not without, sufferable consequences.
Well, that's your karmic aspect that's going to be revealed in context.
Right? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who'd want to do that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, so, people are still in self-sabotage. They're still in, denial of their tyrannical aspect of their consciousness. They're still not looking at it. I mean, look at the state of the world. I mean, it's under a narcissistic, tyrannical mindset, and that's what's running in the context of the programs in the first veil. But look, I want to tell you, your protection as a mage, as a sage, is your higher frequency.
Right.
It is your higher frequency that is your protection. It is your connection to truth. That is your protection. See? I had something weird. It's really strange. I mean, it's so stupid, but yet it's not, I'm sitting there and I do like a little like DoorDash every so often, just part-time here and there. And I'm hoping next year I don't have to do that. But this year I did it part-time, and so I'm on my last dash. It's late at night. I'm tired, and I go into this barbecue place, and I'm sitting there, and the order's not ready, so I'm sitting there waiting. And there's this tip jar that's sitting next to the register, and it's full of money. I mean, packed to the brim, over the top. And this voice comes to me and says, "Hey, why don't you just take that tip jar? Nobody will know that you took it. Nobody will know. I mean, you're getting your last dash. You just grab it and go. You take the chip jar. Nobody's up here. They're all cleaning in the back. There's nobody in the restaurant. You could just take that. There's probably a couple $100 in there, dude. You could take that and just, nobody'd even know." Now, that wasn't me.
Right.
That's not I wouldn't ever do that. I mean, you could put, if it's not my energy and I didn't create it, I'm not taking it.
Yeah.
Or unless it's gifted, I'm not taking it. See? And so why would that even be an issue? Why? Because it's a small amount. See, it's a small amount of money. Nobody will miss that type of thing, So I was tested.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all have our various tests
See, you see
and
what I'm saying?
temptations,
Yeah,
right? And that those
right.
messages, those things that'll we can face that, oh, I have this in me, a little string of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, there's still that
Mhm.
trickster energy
Yeah.
sitting there that's still trying to pull you into the lower frequencies.
Yeah.
Where is it still keyed into?
Right, right. Really good point. Really
Yeah,
important aspect. It's like a guide to introspect, to find the roots of that consciousness and
exactly.
pull those roots or dissolve that trauma pathway. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Mm.
that's how things work in context, see?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you aren't aware, you don't have that awareness that's been
Yeah.
cultivated,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you could just go with that.
Mm-hmm.
See what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And not even think about the consequence.
Yeah. It's very much being the witness
Unconscious
to your own
actions. Yeah.
mind, and then looking and asking, who am I? And is that me? And
Right, right, right. Because I was like, I'm thinking to myself, wait, I had to shake my head. Wait a second. I said, that's not my voice.
Mhm.
That's not who I am, you
Mhm.
know? But the carrot got thrown out in context to the test, see?
Yeah.
This is Saturnian energy. This is what people don't understand about Saturn.
That's a good
It will
example.
test you.
Yeah. And instead of being like filled with shame or guilt or pounding, laying on another layer of, kind of negative consciousness, it's about like, oh, that's shining a flashlight into an unhealed part of me.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right. And that you should be grateful for.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
flip that, see? It's I was actually grateful for the test
Yeah.
because I'm like going, it's just a small thing, but not really.
Right.
Because even when you're faithful in the little things, you're going to be faithful in the big things. It
Yes.
could have been $1 million
Yeah.
and I wouldn't have done it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
there a line of natural law or something, man? You understand Saturn for property rights, too? Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah,
Karmic law and shit, It's a great thing.
exactly. And so that's,
Get with
so
it.
that's the awareness that we're creating, and cultivating in our own lives.
Yeah.
That's going to be leveled up, coming into next year. We're going to take the next step in evolution in context to this, see?
Yeah.
So that this Plutonian transit's huge. It's huge.
Mhm.
This is something that, is a generational transit, that we're looking at here. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And an opportunity, you said, to heal like intergenerational woundings and blood codes, perhaps.
right, because that is in context to the Aquarian energy and your higher aspect. And that takes me to our next transit, because that's exactly what our next transit's all about. Okay, we're going to take things into a break now. Hardcore Productions, Rodney Goodwin, aka Blue Pearl Oracle. Great segment, great flow. Hope you're really enjoying the segment so far. The best is yet to come. So we are going to throw things into a break. This is a song that the band has done. We have recorded it. It's going to be on our next CD. It's called Infinite Moon Gong. Okay, we'll be right back. See, we're syncing up here. This is good. So our next transit is going to be the North Node conjunct Chiron,
Okay.
okay, in Aries. And that's going to be at 16 degrees. This is how we rewrite the script.
Wow.
See, this is showing us we're going to rewrite the script, right? Aries is the self. It's the energy of yourself when you're on the wheel, right? You're looking at what your ascendant is, first house, right? So first house is the house of self. Okay. So now it becomes a matter of your own self-awareness, self-sovereignty, and free will choices.
Mhm.
So the North Node helps us to rewrite the script from the South Node, which is where the healing needs to take place, which is in Libra. See, now what's Libra represent? Balance, harmony, partnerships, and relationships.
Mhm.
See? So it's all of understanding, okay, the karmic cycles of the South Node. That's what we're talking about here, which are generational wounds and generational aspects to the blood codes. And this is what we're transmuting in context to our bloodline.
So the South Node is connected to generational wounds. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
So isn't that interesting?
Yes, it is.
This is how we're going to break the cycles
Yes.
and the stagnation and the karmic patterns. And this gets into the norms, reweaving the web of weird. See?
Yes. Yes.
Not only in our individual life, but then having an impact on the collective.
So it's a huge opportunity.
That's what it's signaling. Yes,
Yeah,
it's signaling the energies are coming in to reweave the script,
Wow.
to break the karmic loops and patterns that we've been on, and it's going to help. And then this actual 29 degrees of Pluto and Sun in Cap is going to show us what those are.
Mhm. Mhm.
See, if you're working with this energy. And then with the conjunction, that's going to happen. Oh, when is that? Hang on, let me look. I'll be right back. Let me look this up because I didn't write that down. And I don't remember exactly when
No,
that
this is
particular was going to happen.
when the North Node conjuncts with Chiron and Aries.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's February. That's February 19th.
Oh, wow. Coming up.
Yes. So that's happening February 19th. And so we are going to have this, it's going to be a fairly long conjunction because the North Node doesn't move that fast. It's retrograding all the time. And then Chiron doesn't move fast. So this is going to give us a large window here for us to be able to really hone in on this particular transit. Breaking those karmic cycles, and becoming more aware of what's within us that needs to be transformed. And then the 29 degrees with Pluto and Sun is going to shine that in and help us give us a signal or show us how, what's still there that we need to transmute.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So it's setting us up for the North Node aspect conjunct Chiron. And okay, so we're looking at the woundedness there, right? Well, let's look at the gift. And this gifting is leveling up your own self-awareness in context to your consciousness. Chiron taught the gods, my Lord. He was the one that taught the gods. So it's high level of consciousness in context to this. See? So it's your giftings and your strengths that you begin to play to, like gravitating towards the North Node into this aspect to heal the wounds that are there. If you continue to keep your consciousness on the wounds, right, and you're going through program after program, I'm gonna heal my inner child. I'm gonna heal this. I'm gonna heal that, right? But you're caught in the cycles of what I call the shadow.
Yes.
Okay, you can literally in shadow work get caught in the cycles of shadow work.
Yes. Yes. And stay looping.
and loop on them. And you're
Yeah.
never
'Cause
actually
there's that
healing
ego
anything.
identification attachment to it, right? Something
Yeah,
like that.
because you're just continually looking at your shadow aspects and you continue to loop on those, right? And you know, and so you're looping on the 8 in context to the numerology. And what's happening? You know, you're not actually coming into the 9, which is actually taking control of your actual energy force. See?
Wow. This is a
Spindle.
theme that Chris Jansen and I have been talking about. We've been like really talking about this vulnerability, I guess, to staying looped in the what we call the healing, you know, the healing work or the shadow work and
Right.
wounding, and you can just swim there and never really like venture out if you're not careful. So there really is a need for another level of like energy and refocusing. So what is your thought about how to leave the looping of the 8 and get to the 9? What do people need to do?
They need to tap into the higher force. They need to tap into source energy. They need to tap into the actual planetary core,
Yeah.
you know, and then make connection to the sun itself.
Yeah.
You know, if you're working with the solar spiral, you got to make connection to the sun if you're going to actually create the 0 and the 9 within yourself and not be caught in the 3 and the 6 being pulled back and forth on the pendulum. See, that's how the number works, you know. I mean, if you want to look at what the 666 actually is, let's look at it. It's what? 24 hours in a day, that's a 6. It's 60 minutes in an hour, that's a 6. It's 60 seconds in a minute, that's a 6. We are under the time, which is actually the beast, in context to Saturn and the blackened sun and the inverted energies of the Saturning aspect.
Wow. Yeah, you're putting this together for me in a way that's gelling a little better.
Yeah.
See, so this is what we've got to come out of is the time loops.
Yeah. Oh, that makes so much sense. And we get stuck in the time loops of our own life experiences.
The infinite in time. Yeah.
I mean, the figure 8 flips sideways. Yeah, that shit, man.
Right.
I had a question about you with that lockdown equation of the 369. And, you know, I wanted to know, is it dissipating? Is it tightening up? Is it losing gears? And also, how does that correlate with Nikola Tesla's research and inventions? And I'm sure you've heard his, you know, quotes, and he's been quoted to, you know, say 369 or use it in his mathematic equations, whatever. And I'm interested also if you studied the, you know, Keylontic science with the Cathara grid and how there's on one side of that, you know, tree of life, there's the 369 lined up vertically like that. Have you noticed that as well?
You know, I haven't really studied much on Nikola Tesla, you know, other than just, you know, I actually have a book over there I need to read about his life. A friend of mine gave it to me, which I need to dive into. But as far as the equation of the 369, right? Without the 0, you're still going to be caught in the loop because the 9 is being held by the dark magi. See?
Okay.
They're the ones holding the 9 in context right now in the reality field, right? Okay. So if you can't find your 0, which is everything, the I am, right, within yourself, you will always be back and forth on the pendulum string controlled by the dark magi on the 9.
So the 0,
and that creates what? That creates a diamond.
So
in context to the 0, 9, 3, and 6, if you're looking at it in context to what? The world access points.
Okay.
So when you're looking at the diamond, what is the diamond? That's Ingwaz. That's the portal. See? That's the portal to the cosmos. That's the portal to the higher consciousness and breaking out of the Tesseract, which is locked down in the 6. See? So when we realize that's what's going on, when we look at the 6th gate, what is the 6th gate? It's Virgo, the health gate. It's the gate where all the epigenetics is thrown against us in context of pharmakia, big pharma, all the GMO aspects, dealing with all of the chemtrails, the water being polluted, all the way down to the food being polluted, all the way down. That's the 6th gate. We're locked down in context to epigenetics and how our DNA is trying to be manipulated.
So we're up against this energy that wants to keep us down, and we need to transmute that through connecting to the cosmos, to God, to higher consciousness, to and do the healing work.
Right, and that's why you need your dragon.
Yeah.
See?
'Tis the year.
Yes.
And
Because
then,
if you aren't mounting your dragon,
yeah,
if you aren't in control of your ego,
yeah,
right? And it's running the show, right? And it's speaking to you like they say in the movie Revival, it's your best friend,
mhm,
right? You think it's your best friend, then you're going to continue to be locked down on the pendulum swing to the 3 and the 6,
yeah,
controlled by the dark Sith, the dark magi of the 9. See? Because they're always telling you, they're always throwing it out that they are in control.
mhm, mhm.
Okay. All right. So to access that, you've got to go to the 0. And then that is the circle of the magician itself, where you cultivate the cone of power and the actual portal of Ingwas, of the diamond heart in context.
And
Yeah.
that zero is also about pure potential, correct?
Yes, because what are you doing? You're self-actualizing your potential as a human being, as a magician, as a sage, as a whatever. You know, you become the I am in that circle, and you're cultivating your God consciousness right there. That's where you do it.
Yeah.
That's where you clear everything out and you become the I am of your own reality field. If you don't do that, you're not going to access, you're not going to open the portal of Ingwas. See, you're just not going to, and then that won't give you access to the higher universal structures and consciousness that we need to step into, getting into the Cathar grid in that context. Climbing up the 3, the 6, the 9, being able to realize that when we access the 9, we're accessing the 0 as above, so below. See?
Boom.
And so when we're accessing that 0 within us and cultivating that cone of power, right? That's when we become have major effects on the reality field itself. This is where they don't want us to get. Why do you think all this is going on? It's not to psyop the norms. They're already caught in the web, in the tesseract. It's to keep those who are here locked down so that they can't break open that tesseract, break open that enclosure, bust it open.
Boom.
So that then that true cosmic energy can come in. Why do you think we're having so many solar flares in X class and M class? Feeling all this electromagnetic energy coming through the cosmos from the sun and the central sun. How we are all being upgraded in context to our nervous system. I'm going through a major nervous system purge right last couple 3 days. I mean, the anxiety that's been coming up in context to trauma inside of me has been massive. And I've had to go to major protocols to just move this stuff out. Oh my God, I have been under siege from within myself in context to what's I've actually been upgrading,
Mhm.
within my own self. So I know other people are going through this. I'm not the only one,
Yeah, man.
It's a different way of looking at our symptoms, so to speak, not to be afraid of them, but to seek understanding of them and see that like anxiety is an opportunity, to deepen this work.
It's mindset again, isn't it, Leslie?
Yeah.
How you're perceiving it. I mean, you could be like shamed, like, oh my God, I got this trauma still inside of me, and I've done the work, and I don't know if I'm actually doing, all this stuff can come up, right? But when I look at it and say, no, it's a purge
Yeah.
that's coming up from my nervous system in context to where things are still out of alignment with my tree.
Yes. Yeah, it's teaching us.
And that kind of, so yeah, it definitely teaches us for sure, Leslie. And that kind of brings up a point.
Yeah, the pain's the greatest teacher.
Fuck. Why does that have to hurt so much, yo? Like, but yeah, like you harken on something that you mentioned in that video with Tala again. going back to some of these, the new cage movement, and of course, yes, the psyops are, unwavering against the people that are trying to get to those, higher levels and level the fuck up and all that. So yeah, hence the controlled opposition, just ramped up a little bit more than usual, a little bit. But yeah, as far as like one of these psyops you've heard and you kind of called out is like the ascension symptoms and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
anyone could identify with that even if they haven't done the work. So it gives some kind of self-entitlement, and the people are bypassing things, and oh, let's just skip 4D. Everyone's talking about going to 5D and all this stuff, and like I don't even get it, because the lockdown equations are up until fucking 11D, so big fucking deal, right? I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you see these like popular people, right, coming out. I mean, you see them there, and I call them plants. I mean, I think a lot of them are just out there to do damage control, so to speak. The what do they call those guys? The Jim Carreys of the world. They're out there to do damage control in context to what's going on, so that everybody's like, oh yeah, we know that's we're privy to this information, and we're with you, man, that type of stuff. But really, they're controlled, what you call controlled opposition. I think there are a lot of them are plants in context to what? To saying, oh yeah, wow, man, somebody really gets me.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of shit. When in fact it's really just like, oh, let's deactivate what's going on. Let's use this as a trigger or a switch to deactivate. That's how I see it
Mhm.
in context to the Hollywood stars, or these different psyops. I mean, look, I'm not a fan of all these guys that are coming out, like the Alex Joneses and Tucker Carlson's and all this shit. They're coming out, like, oh man, we're showing awareness of what's going on in the Matrix, and all. It's all, to me, it's controlled opposition.
Like
It's
Russell
first veil
Brand.
still,
even.
like what
Russell Brand, all that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the illusion
Yeah.
of ascension.
It's tricky, very tricky.
Well, yeah, because it's a matrix, it's a labyrinth.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get caught in the web, right?
Right, exactly. So you
Yeah.
got to have that awareness, and you have to cultivate that with the zero. That's where you cultivate it.
Speak on the zero more, please, because like, yeah, for me, like thinking about what you were saying, brilliance. Also, thank you so much. That's kind of like the cosmic egg, the womb of creation, and like how we're
Gununda
birthing
gap, so to
new.
speak. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the word I was trying to say, and yeah, you want to speak on that a little bit, because you've mentioned that in quite a few segments. I don't know if there's anything relevant in context. Obviously there is, but yeah, man. You know about
Well,
it more than us, so yeah.
Well, like just going back to, what I formerly said about the 0 and the 9. I mean, if you want to look at what Ganunda gap is, a lot of people say it's the void. I think it's the womb. I think it's what's been hijacked in context, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Ganunda gap becomes the 0 in context to what? Creation, right? So you got Niflheim, you've got Muspelheim. They came together, the fire and the ice, right? And then they formed in Ganunda Gap, right? So this is the creation, water and fire, right? This is what we're dealing with. And so Ganunda Gap becomes the 0, or the womb, or the egg, so to speak, of what needs to be hatched or birthed in context to consciousness and reality. So what you cultivate within the 0, of which is everything, and which is the I am presence, your God consciousness, right? That is then, creates the cone of power in context to what you're connected to and hooked up to the sun, and to the element of the earth, and all the elements themselves, including water, fire, air and earth, and taking all those elements, bringing them into the 0, into the Ganunda gap, and working with them to produce the fifth element, which I believe is the quantum aspect of our electromagnetic heart core intelligence.
Yeah. And much respect to Hardcore Productions.
Right, exactly. That's why I named it that.
So then expand on the 9 as well. What is that?
That was wonderful
That's
what you said, man. I love that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the 9 is actually the energy force. Because the 9 is what is the eternal aspect, which has been locked down in the 8 of the infinite, as far as I'm concerned. See? So they've taken the 9, they've locked it down in the 8, and then they've scattered the numerology to the 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8 with a 3 and the 6. Right? So without the 3 and the 6, you don't get 9. You get 9, but if you don't have that 3 and the 6 operating in alignment in context to the 0 and the dealing with the ingwas or the diamond heart, right?
Got
The
it.
0 isn't there, then you're just doing the pendulum swing because you are not in control of your own energy force. Someone or something else is. And
Okay.
this is getting into the astral realm now. And if you take the astral and you flip it, you realize actually star is in the astral. The word star is in the word astral. So it is the stars that have fallen, the fallen stars, or our star core, or our heart, or our star core, or our heart core that has been locked down to the lower astral planes and eclipsed by the veil, which is actually the moon energy in context. So the moon energy is what is eclipsing it. And the black sun then becomes the inverted Saturnian energies in context to that by breaking cosmic law and creating karmic aspects. Then that throws us on the behavioral loops of the 8. And this is why the 9 is so important to access, because if you can't access your eternal codes and your eternal spirits within yourself, by coming into the 0 and cultivating the God I am consciousness, you will never access higher consciousness. You will always be locked down.
Yeah. Great summary.
Wow. Yeah.
That helps me.
Fuck yeah.
So we've come so far into the year, the timeline, speaking of the time, to basically April, right?
Yeah, right.
So what else we got for 2024?
Okay, right. So the next thing is getting ready to happen. It's going to be huge. This is going to be a once in a lifetime transit. We'll never see this transit again. Jupiter conjunct Uranus, 21 degrees. And that's happening April 21st. And this is basically, Uranus and Jupiter meet every 13 to 14 years in the gates, but we'll never see it in Taurus again. So this is huge because this is taking the expansion, the growth, the absolute luck, the power, the benevolence of Jupiter, and bringing it into the progress, the awakening, the rebel, the unpredictability, the maverick, the sovereignty, the collaboration of Uranus. And those two are coming together in Taurus. So if you are running Earth energy in context to any of your gates, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, especially Taurus, if you have Tauronian energy in context wherever that lays, you're going to have major luck. Taurus is representation of money as well, or the money aspect in context to the coins. So when you look at it, there are opportunities that could be wielded out during this time or in preparation beforehand and then launched during this time that are going to bring big payloads.
Cool.
If you want to look at what Taurus represents, it's the bull, right? We're looking at that in context to what? That's why they use it on the stock market. It's that in context. See? And so when you're looking at this, right, it's telling us that there is some celestial optimism that's here. This is where we're going to tap into our celestial optimism on another level. Because what's happening? These Jupiter and Uranus are conjuncting in context, Uranus representing our higher selves, our higher aspects, our higher awakening, breaking barriers, breaking glass, breaking veils, piercing shit. The Tower card, boom, hitting the hierarchical bullshit and letting it fall to the ground, and then reconstructing a higher level of consciousness and building a brand new version of yourself.
Yeah.
See, this is what it's signaling in the heavens in context, You know,
That kind of
it's
reminds me of what Sethicus was talking about with the Hamramnir, the
exactly,
that life force
which is
energy,
that
the electricity.
exactly.
And I was thinking about the lightning bolt with the, the tower card and how that can be a really good positive shift in people's lives for the better.
It is, and
Also,
that's the thing is that people fear the tower. I got the tower card. Oh my God, my life's going to be, it's not like that. It's all about what's up here. What is your mindset? See, it's all up here. See, so how are you looking at the aspect that's taking place, right? So Jupiter's coming in and saying, "Hey, man, you have an opportunity here to level up your Superman abilities, your Thor abilities, your Jupiter aspect here." See? And this is very powerful because now, you know, we can tap into this higher level of celestial optimism and bring ourselves into a place where we can really cultivate an expansion of our heart core, expansion of our heart space, and then take that to the emotional aspect, right? Dealing with the emotions, which is frequency.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what energy and motion is, or emotion is. It's frequency, right?
Yeah.
And then we can really travel to another place. See? And it's interesting because, in some of this rune aspect that I've been looking at, getting into, radio is one of the runes which represents Sagittarius, which is the Jupiter aspect. See? So it's traveling in your consciousness with this transit. It's signaling the gate or the portal is open to travel into a higher benevolent space of prosperity, abundance in your consciousness.
Mhm.
See, what are you wielding with your consciousness? What are you, how are you wielding it out? See, where are you traveling to? So we have major upgrades coming with this transit. This transit's going to last a little while. Jupiter doesn't move that fast either.
Right.
It's a year through the gates usually. And when you look at Uranus is a 7-year transit through the gates. So these aspects are going to be in play for a while. See? When we're looking at the time frame. So we're going to see these, a month or a month and a half of this really powerful transit, and then Venus is going to come in to the transit as well and hook up, okay, which represents in Taurus, which represents what? Not only your self-worth, self-validation, and self-love, but also represents what relationships now that you're collaborating with and coming together with, and what energy you're linking up in context to relationships to build something. Because what is your Uranus? What is Aquarius? It's what? It's the great humanitarian.
Right.
As well.
Yeah. Right. And then the Rideho rune is right order, right? It's the ride, the symbol of the path of the sun.
Yes, and it's the travel. So it's
Yeah.
traveling your consciousness, right? You're traveling, and it also is understanding that it is correspondence is Sagittarius, see?
Yeah. And follow
So,
our highest destiny in life.
right, and it's union and reunion.
Yeah.
See?
Right.
So it's not only bringing a new union into place, but it's also cultivating a reunion, maybe with those things or those relationships that maybe didn't work or were in the past, but now you're linking back up with something, coming into reunion to build something in a humanitarian aspect.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, it all works together in terms of the clearing and the healing and the
Yes.
releasing and the boundaries and the collaboration and the right path and truth, purpose.
Exactly. And also radio also is the what did I write down here? The balancing of oppositions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's another aspect of radio.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at Michael Denny, one of Michael Denny's books on the runes, and he talks about Radho signifying following the intended path of spiritual law, righteous,
Yes.
right? Bringing our brings us to our spiritual destinations in life.
Yes.
The rune of the soul, following our dharma, our orlog.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's bringing ourselves into, understanding or cultivating our North Star or North Node.
Yeah, on
You know,
being
yeah, in our own internal path or on our own templating in context to our own, astrological profile.
yeah, powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you've
So,
interconnected these the astrology and the runes, and we have the tarot kind of, and they're all connecting.
they all have aspects that are woven
Yeah,
within themselves, and so that weaving then becomes very powerful to bring the gnosis, which is knowing who you are, and then being able then to cultivate that, in a on levels as you're traveling, right? As you're traveling,
yeah,
so you're able to cultivate that, and you got to be careful because there's a lot of psyops out there that can pull you into the foxholes, pull you into the ditches. There's a lot of people on the side of the road dead because they haven't continued on the path. They've allowed psyops to pull them into certain things. I mean, we see what's being tapped here with this Israel bullshit that's going on, with the Christian programming, the whole Abrahamic construct that's trying to be wielded out here to divide and conquer and breathe things and separate things. We see that that's what's going on. We're not novices here. We are, we're seeing what's going on, but this is what they wheeled out in context. And they don't care how many people they kill. They don't care how many children suffer. They don't give a shit. See, this is how evil this shit is.
yeah,
If people don't realize how evil the evil shit that's going on this planet, you got your head in the goddamn sand if you can't see this shit.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, it's crimes against the human race itself,
Against life.
against life itself.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah,
The purpose, the goal is our goal of whatever we want to do, on this planet is more important than anything else. Fuck the individual, fuck your sovereign rights, fuck you. We're going to do it anyway.
yeah,
That's their attitude.
yeah. That was the big wake up for me, was just realizing the intentionality of the evil. And when you realize that, it's like, oh no, we can't stand by and let the evil forces create our future.
No. I mean, the cosmic hammer is going to fall. You can't continue to break cosmic principle over and over and over again and then take it and subvert that to energy to something else or someone else, by getting consent. See? And once we stop giving consent
Mhm.
to this shit as a collective, the hammer will fall. That is the challenge for us.
Yeah,
Is teaching people not to give consent to this shit. See? Really, that's what it comes down to. You're giving your consent to it. So as long as collectively we're doing that, right? We're consenting to the evil itself.
yeah. And that's where we face our dilemmas and our strings, and what we may need to give up and release to.
Right. And that's why every religion, almost every religion has psyop to what? As without, as within. It's on a reversal. See? This is why they've done that, because they've thrown vibrational correspondence on an opposition.
Yeah,
So we look outside to wield our internal dialogue.
yeah, well said.
Yeah. So that's what they've done. That's why, you look at Christianity, it's been, totally psyoped in context to the sky god and the Jesus construct and, giving away your power to something outside of yourself to save yourself.
Right.
This is the reversals. This is how they work.
And we're talking more about bringing the power, recognizing the power is access from within.
Yeah, how can you ever ascend quote unquote ascend if you yourself don't have the mindset of ascension or transformation.
Mm-hmm.
See? And you're not constructively using your consciousness to deconstruct what is out of alignment, transmute that, and then reconstruct it into alignment.
Right. Become as light as a feather in order to.
Exactly. You're not going to find balance and harmony.
Or the Mayats.
Right. Exactly. If you're looking outside of yourself for the answers.
Yeah, great.
Libra. I had a
Which,
question for you concerning Chiron, and the wounded healer, right? Chiron is asteroid or
it's
not?
called
I
a
know it's
dwarf.
like
It's
named
called a
after.
dwarf planet. At what, a lot of
Oh,
people
okay.
label it as an asteroid. I say it's like a dwarf planet, kind of like Pluto. Pluto's
Okay, so
labeled
you
a
don't think
dwarf
it's one of the
planet.
fragments of Maldek then?
It could be. I'm not saying that it isn't. It possibly could be, but I think actually Chiron stood alone. I think it was actually
Okay.
a huge body or a huge planet at one time. I'm
Hmm.
not saying that I'm right with that. I'm just saying that's how I personally feel. I haven't done a lot of research on it, so I can't really say for sure. But for me personally, I think actual Chiron was an actual body, a massive body at one time that basically I think had been destroyed too, as well, like Maldek fragments, context to the
Hmm.
asteroid belt, maybe the rings of Saturn and Jupiter, so to speak. Um, and that kind of thing. But look, the solar spiral is still relevant to work with. Even though all the parts and
Totally.
pieces aren't all there, it's still relevant to work with because it is planetary consciousness and it's some of the most purest consciousness that you can work with in context. Because, Saturn's not going to give you what you want. It's not going to be moved by your opinion. It
Right.
doesn't care.
Yeah.
See?
Right.
So
Like
just
natural
like
law, we just got to align with
exactly,
it,
it
right?
doesn't care. Truth is truth. It doesn't care if you hate it or not.
Right. Yeah.
So
Speaking
anyway,
of solar spiral,
what's
does this
that?
represent the three
Oh
spirals of
yeah.
creation?
Yeah, that's
The
that's that's
Triskel,
yeah, that's
or
definitely does. Yes. I think that is the symbol of the three spirals. Yeah. What is that?
okay, cool. It's in a region in France.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a lighter, but
Oh, it's a lighter. Oh, okay, cool. See, they
but
use
yeah,
these occult symbols, man, on all kinds of stuff, man. Then you don't even know it.
yeah, it's one of the regional symbols. They have it on flags and everything. Yeah, for sure. And
Oh, wow.
it's got some super ancient druidic vibes over there. I've lived there for over a year. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's getting into the Cathars down in that area for
Mm,
sure.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of us have that type of have a portion of that bloodline of the
yeah.
Cathars. Yeah.
Mm.
I know I do. I know I
Probably so cathartic, man. Shit.
I know, right? So the
But
next
Karnak is in that region as well. You're familiar with that?
what is it?
Karnak, where there's like kilometers of slabs of monoliths that
Oh,
kind of are on the ley
I'm not
lines.
familiar. I'm not familiar with that. Wow.
Okay, not to like digress into that kind of stuff. I just wanted to
Oh,
get
that's
your opinion
interesting.
on,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
just
Yeah, man,
so.
that's
All
a
right,
whole
I'm gonna
nother
bring it back
subject,
real
all those
quick.
megaliths, man.
Yeah, it's a wild, magical place over there. I swear, ancient, beyond fathom almost sometimes. But
Wow.
yeah, I really like what you guys had to say about like going into the intergenerational healing and that kind of stuff, and you know following your work for over a year, just as long as I've known you, and like, oh man, this guy's a real astrologer that's tapping into the true occult sciences of everything, and I love it. You mentioned, yeah, as far as like how we can get back and heal the organic true earth timeline, whatever. And I like how the analogy of Back to the Future on some Marty McFly shit, enchanting under the squared Neptune under the sea. Like
Yeah.
the play on those words, and how you broke that down in context. That's really cool. And like, does that apply and is relevant towards 2024, what we're talking about, kind of? And Yeah. I
Well,
threw a lot at you, man. Sorry.
yeah,
I
I
always
think,
do
you
that.
know, we're definitely going to be playing with the Neptune energy squared off with the galactic center. You know, that transit's going to be going into 2025, 2026. So it's going to be on for a while, you know, this particular transit. So, um, you know, we're really tapping into what is an illusion and what is actually real. See, with that, and leveling up our giftings in context to what's real, what we're really gifted with. I mean, how many people really know what their gifts are,
Hmm.
what their abilities are? We haven't even seen it. You know, they call that junk DNA. You know, you don't need that shit. That's actually where I believe a lot of our giftings are, our abilities are supernaturally, that
Mhm.
we haven't really tapped into yet, because you know there's a lot of work to be done to remove those overlays or frequency fences, so to speak. And so
Hmm.
there's a lot of work to do, you know, alchemical work to do, to, you know, throw that into the athanor and burn the shit out of it, you know, to the program, you know. So, you know, when we're doing this aspect, I believe next year we're going to really be able to actually probably tap into some of our giftings that we didn't know we had
Mhm.
next year. I think that's what next year is all about. Because as the darkness levels up, so does the light. You know, it's going to come, you know, you know, it's not just going to be, oh God, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. It's just sliding into the abyss. It's going to be, no, the fucking mages are rising up, the dragon lines are rising up, and the sun kings are returning.
Awesome.
See, the
Yeah.
mindset do you have?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what going
What are
back to
you
that poem,
wielding?
yeah. What about, Rage Against the Dying of the Lights? Whatever happened to, that kind of sentimental value that, sparks the light up in that will force to make someone want to do something, the proper righteousness.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
also, yeah, sorry.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, like, all right, so we're in the phase of the rise of AI, but
We're
the
also in the
mages want
phase
to
of the
flip the
rise.
script.
We're also in the phase of the
Activated
rise
individual. That's what I say.
of the organic technology too,
Mhm.
Boom. That's what exactly. Yeah. Activated individual. The
which is
true
what
AI.
Uranus and Taurus is all about.
Mm.
It's preparing us for that. Because when Uranus moves into Gemini, it's on in context to what? Balancing those polarities and bringing that balance into opening up the portals to our intelligence, our human hardcore intelligence. See? And this is getting into where what Jupiter is going to prepare for us, where Jupiter enters Gemini next year on May 25th.
Mm.
This is when it gets on. This is when things become like light speed because we're dealing with Mercury now. See, we're dealing with the Gemini gate, right? So things are going to get fast. Things are going to get active. Things are going to come at you fast when Jupiter enters Gemini. Okay. So next year in May, it's going to feel like you're going to feel the shift that's going to take place when Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, the massive uh, um, um, gravity that planet has, is going to pull us into that Gemini gate, right? And so then it's on in context to information, communication, control, all those things that Gemini represents, right? So you think you've seen anything now in context to what's going on out there. When May hits, man, things are going to be rolling out like crazy as in context to this AI timeline that they're wanting to propagate and bring up. Let's see. So we're in the opposition to that in context to the organic technology.
So
See?
this in a way gives us a timeline to work towards, right? In preparing our communications.
Absolutely. Because when Uranus moves into Taurus, I think it's in 2026, maybe late 2025. I don't know the exact date because I haven't looked at it. But when that actually moves into, then it's on for us because Uranus is representing our collective collaboration. See? And
Yeah.
not only that, but it's representing our sovereignty, our free will, and our total awakening of our organic technology in context to what Gemini represents. And if you look at it, it can represent the hemispheres of the brain itself.
Hmm. Right.
See?
Twins.
Yeah. you
Wow.
know,
Yeah.
and the actual
Yeah.
nervous system to Mercury.
Mhm.
So this is why we're preparing. See, the
Yeah.
2024 is going to give us a taste of leveling up, but it's also going to give us a year of major preparation for what's coming.
Wow.
Yeah, and then Pluto will be in Aquarius as well. See, so we'll have Pluto and
Oh, yeah.
Uranus both sitting in the Aquarian gate. I mean, excuse me, Pluto in the Aquarian gate and Uranus in the Gemini gate, which is the air, but representing the 11th gate. Let me backpedal on that. So Uranus represents the Aquarian energy in Gemini, and then the Plutonian energy is transforming the Uranian energy where Uranus sits in the gate of Gemini itself. Does that make sense? That's how the thread works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and does it make sense to say that, the Gemini, Aquarius, both air elements, right?
Yeah, they're
And
both on the gate
those
of the air
winds are
elements.
blowing
Right.
things faster, I guess.
Right, exactly, because you got Gemini running the 3rd gate, and then you've got Libra running the 7th gate, Uranus running the 11th gate. See? Okay. So that's why the 7th gate's so important to find that balance and harmony on the air element, so you can
Okay.
access your higher self, which is the 11th gate, context to the Uranus energy and Aquarian energy. Gemini being
And
the
I'd like to
place
point
where
out
you
once again, sorry.
Gemini being the place where you cultivate the internal dialogue to balance and harmony.
It's like the right left hemisphere balance, the wise
Right.
mind.
Yeah.
Having the wise.
Yeah. Bringing your mind into one sphere
Yeah.
instead of divided.
It's like the hieroscamos,
Yeah.
the energetic merging
Exact-
creative energy.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
So that,
fascinating how you're just really weaving all of these things together in this cohesive picture.
So many things correspond, yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. And the optimism that you bring, and it's very inspiring and I feel like empowering. It guides us. And that's what we need. We need the
yeah,
not the downer,
we do need optimism, celestial optimism. I term that word celestial optimism.
Yeah.
Because without that, how are we going to cultivate courage?
Right.
If you don't have hope, how do you cultivate courage?
Yeah.
Really, think about it.
No, you're right. That's why I love your approach. One of the things I love about your approach, Rodney, is it's very much the warrior energy of inspiration and creating that courage, and seeing a path and knowing we're not alone. There is a celestial energy that we can take wind, we can take the energy from this celestial experience to empower and grow ourselves.
That's the one thing, loneliness is a real problem in the world. I mean, I was reading an article a couple days ago about loneliness and how it's like an epidemic everywhere.
Yes.
People are so alone, even though they got, whatever they feel like the loneliness, the sadness, there's all this very low frequency that's taking place. And once you open your heart and you connect to the higher force, you realize you're never alone.
Yes.
You are never alone,
Yes.
ever.
Yeah.
You have at your fingertips, you have such correspondence to relationship with source energy. If we could only cultivate that,
Yeah.
and cultivate it, and keep going and keep rolling. Even when we have these dark nights of the soul where we're diving down into that underworld, I am not walking in that underworld alone.
Yeah. And then with these type of talks, it really can connect us all really around the world in this coming together with this energy and riding the winds of transformation together.
Absolutely. That's the Aquarian gate. That's the collaboration.
Yeah.
In context to that, and so when you start to understand that, you have this understanding of that, then the game changes.
Yeah.
You realize what you can and cannot control.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you cannot control no longer can control you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See? So now you've sealed off your auric field in context to that. It can't hook in emotionally to you. All the bullshit, the left wing Zionist shit, all the right wing, all the polarity shit going on. It can't hook in anymore because you've sealed that off.
Yeah.
See? There's no place for it to land.
Yeah.
See?
Yep.
Ooh, that's a great thing that I had a question like an hour ago. Talking about, the water, the vast waters of Neptune and everything and Scorpio and how Scorpio wants to put boundaries and like, yeah, so, we are vessels that contain, two-thirds water, just like in correspondence to the earth and this and that, and how the moon has certain effects on that. It's interesting to keep that in mind. But as far as like being able to create our own containers of our, waters of emotion, if you will, within our own container, I guess that just kind of metaphorically means setting boundaries for ourselves so that our emotions don't, spill over and we get loosed out kind of stuff. And like you said, get hooked into the fucking miasma matrix bullshit kind of thing. Do you have any
Yeah. I
tips or
mean,
anything?
if your cup has a crack in it, right? Context to alignment and what's actually truth. If your cup has a crack, you're going to
In the
leak.
tarot, yeah.
Yeah, right. But if you have your cup, which is your emotional aspect, right? And you have it and it's full, your frequency is full. You're running on full frequency. Your cup is full, right? The overflow becomes the next drop of power, an emotion and frequency that is in alignment, which begins to overflow that cup onto the collective. This is where the power manifestations take place. It's the Greek word, there's two words for this. It's the Greek word plerao, which means filled to capacity. And then the Greek word pletho, which means filled to overflowing. That means your vessel is filled to overflowing now.
Mhm.
So you are literally
Damn.
not leaking anymore. Your auric field is sealed off. Okay. You're not able to be hooked into on the astral plane any longer. And then your cup then becomes a metaphor of what? Of the power manifestations when things begin to synchronize and take place outside of your reality field. You start to have manifestation.
Mhm.
So then you become aware of
Being
that
the cause point.
manifestation in context to what? Being the cause point of your own reality field.
Right.
That's how the tarot works.
Beautiful, man.
And
So
what we fill our cup with is of utmost importance.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you look at it in context, right? What is the sacred water?
Mhm.
Your
Mhm.
pineal gland has the sacred water. It is the portal in context to the crystals in your pineal gland and the water that vibrates at whatever level that you are operating on. This is why they like to be able to put things out in context to epigenetics to seal off your pineal gland, to calcify it.
Right. And so
The
again, it's the
fluoridated shit you
source.
sort of hated.
That is Horus. That is Horus.
Yeah. So that is also our connection to the all that is, to spiritual energy, and so if that's closed off, then we're closed off from truth and spiritual reality,
Right, exactly. So you can have your pineal gland open, but if your first eye, your heart core intelligence hasn't been ignited, you're going to get pulled into the psyops. You're going to see it and you're going to get pulled in. But until you're actually navigating from your first eye, which is your heart core intelligence, then connecting and bridging those centers to your pineal gland right here, or
Yes.
right here, so they're bridged, right?
Yes.
Then what you speak, what you galder when those are connected becomes the fire magic that your arrow that's shot in
Right.
context.
And then also the will force, right?
And the will force, yes.
That
Yeah,
trinity.
which runs to your grounding chakra in context to that, or the grounding aspect of your energy field connected to the earth aspect when you're grounding into the earth.
Yeah.
And into the core of the earth, or the center of the earth, or the sun, the central sun of the earth itself.
Yeah. Wow. So Rodney, we have about, I would say, I don't know, a few minutes left. We're
Okay.
approaching our 2 hour point. And I think there's plenty of year to still to talk about. So we
Yeah,
mean,
we
you
can
laugh.
we can stop there. I mean, those are the major transits that are taking place. There's other things that will be going on later on in the year, but in context to this, just want to get quickly into this rune energy because I
Yes.
think it's really important that people understand this. So I think the major rune correspondence this year is going to be Manas, which its correspondence is Jupiter. So that is the symbol of humanity.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that, what are we doing in our lives, not only to better our own lives, but better the world around us, the common good around us, what influence it makes us take a look at, our sphere of influence and how we as shamans, the healers can expand that sphere of influence in our lives. That's Manas.
Yeah.
How are we, develop a strategy to expand the influence of your reach for the common good or the betterment of mankind itself? How are we going to do that?
Yeah.
Take a look at all the different avenues that can be done, not just social media, not just these podcasts, but there's also other things that can do that. I'll give you an example. I had a friend of mine, and he had cancer, and I made him some RSO oil, Rick Simpson oil, 2 batches, sent it to him, and within 90 days, he is cancer free.
Wow.
All right. Well, the story gets worse. So the doctors, the cult of the medics, told him that the cancer was going to come back eventually, and that he needed a preventive operation to cut out his peritoneal, his appendix, part of his colon, and a couple other things so that this stuff wouldn't come back, so it would have no place to land. They literally put fear into this man that a fear of death. So he had the operation. He never healed from it, and he passed on. He died. He died a month and a half ago, about a month ago.
I'm sorry.
By the cult of the medics. The cult of the medics butchered him.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, man.
So I know his wife. I know him. They're friends of mine. She was devastated. She has absolute hate for the medical system and for the doctors now. I mean, she's like, I'm going after him, man. I don't care what it takes. I'm going after their ass. And I don't blame her. She should, because of what took place there. So she basically, she says, I can't do this. I can't do this memorial service. I can't do any of this. I don't want to do it. None of the family wanted to do it or that could afford to do it. So you know what I stepped up and I totally did the whole, I mean, from all of the logistics, everything of this of my friend's funeral service, his thing. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm telling you how you can be an influence in a community.
Right. Yes.
So I got the place. I mean, everything absolutely synchronized all the way down to I didn't pay anything for the facility. The guy who had the facility was there. He was setting up tables, setting up the chafing dishes, moving stuff, setting up chairs for me, everything. I mean, and literally like everything came together so synchronized. I really didn't do that much, but just initiate the processes. Right?
Yeah.
But listen to this. I got a chance to speak in front of about 60 to 80 people about natural law
Awesome.
and about how we make transitions and transition into our higher consciousness. Right? I'm doing shamanic work here.
Yeah.
It's death work, right? Scorpion work, right? But I'm able to take that, and I took that opportunity. I seized it. It cost me a little money, but so the fuck what?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I seized the opportunity to have an impact on people's lives at that moment.
Yeah.
See, This is the type of work and opportunities we have to look for that present themselves to us and not bypass the fact, oh, they're just fuck the world. Shit.
Yes.
See? See,
Yeah.
with that attitude,
Yeah.
you're gonna be just by yourself doing what you're doing. You've got to be able to cultivate opportunities to input a collective aspect into the consciousness of people's lives. If you're not doing that and you're only using one or two avenues to do that, you've got to expand your mindset with that. And you've got to be able to have the awareness to see the opportunities that are presenting themselves by the universe itself, by the higher force.
Yeah. Good. Very good point, Rodney.
You
Yeah.
know?
Working that generative principle, working your magic too. I love
Yeah.
that
That's
shit.
what it is.
A
It's
great
magic.
tribute, a great gesture.
Look,
Yeah, man.
I made the choice to do it. I set it in motion with thought. I put my action into it, and everything lined up in synchronicity.
Yeah.
I literally saw it happen.
Yeah.
That is magic.
Yes. And it's wielding the power, the forces beyond yourself, you know, and those
Absolutely. That's
moments.
Manas. That's how Manas works.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes away our excuses because I think we all have them. We
Oh
need
yeah,
to
I don't
do
have
it.
time. I don't have the whatever. You know, you can make any excuse you want. But
Mhm.
when your heart opens up for something, and that heart then becomes your fire magic in context when you're putting it into action, right? Then the synchronicity is going to take place. You can't have any fear. You can't have any second doubts. You can't be double-minded when you're going into those aspects. You have to be razor sharp focused like a sword. See?
Yeah.
That's going to cut both ways. It doesn't matter. See, it's a two-edged sword. It's going to cut both ways. It's not going to, be double-minded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's
both sides of that sword are sharp
right.
and having an impact.
Yeah.
So you're cutting through all the bullshit in context to what slows you down in context of the 3D world, or how things, supposedly are going slow here. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the what? The absolute regeneration, number one, and number two, the catapult of something that happens faster than it should. So we're going to start to see manifestations take place on a much quicker, faster level when we realize that we can close that time and space gap. See, we're closing the time and space gap because we're tapping into the eternal. That's what the zero is all about. As if it's already happened. You are seeing it as if it's
Like zero
already
point
taken
energy, whatever.
place. That's exactly what it is.
Great. I think that's a great place to call it a day.
Yeah,
Very powerful message.
Oh, I was having so much fun. No,
I
just kidding.
know.
I
We'll
know you
have
gotta
to
do
bring you
things, yeah.
back, Rodney, and we'll finish out the year with you. Or halfway point, maybe.
Wow,
absolutely.
Rodney, I'm
Yeah.
blown away, man. Wow.
Yeah, no,
Thank you
it's
so much.
powerful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anytime. I appreciate the opportunity to be on, and I love you guys. Much love to what you're doing, your work, and everything that you're
Likewise,
putting
brother.
out, man. Just keep rolling, man. Keep leveling up. We're all in this together, man. There's no one here that's not tapping into something, and so we just gotta keep going. You
Yes,
know, obstacles are going to present themselves, but so what, man? It's only an opportunity for growth.
right. And these collaborations, like you
Spiritual
say, are
growth, shit.
really important parts of this energy, like creating more and more energy in our force, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for everyone listening today to Dissolving the Divide. We look forward to the next time. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Forward to having you back. And everybody check out your work. Share again where they can find you.
You can get a hold of me at hardcoreproductions9@gmail.com. I'm in the process of reworking my website, hardcoreproductions.com.
Okay, cool.
And I am on Facebook, Rodney Goodwin, and I'm also my YouTube page is Hardcore Productions. I got about 100 videos over there or so. And then let's see where else. I think that's about it, really. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
everybody check out Ronnie's work. It's
now
awesome.
I have a Hardcore Productions page on Facebook as well. You
Yeah.
can actually book a session there if you like. I do, tarot readings, and I'm actually working on a new reading. which is a galactic center reading. So it's basically taking the galactic center of your chart and then seeing, where what's in union or conjunction, what's in sextile, what's in trine, maybe what's squared, and then looking at all your orbs and aspects to the galactic center itself, to where you can access your Jupiter energy and activate that. So that's a new reading that I'm in the process of working on. So
Excellent.
great.
Yeah, I had a reading with you, Rodney. It was very amazing and eye-opening, and for me and my life kind of trajectory. So I encourage people to take you up on those opportunities.
absolutely. So yeah, much love, everybody. Thank you.
Right. Thank
And
you.
Yeah, much love,
Yeah,
Rodney.
thank you, Rodney. We'll see you later. Thank you, Derek.
okay.